What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the overall markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposit $2,000, and you're guaranteed 30. Anyways, let's talk about the market. So, I mentioned to you all we had some bad news involving Tesla. The mainstream media was screaming Tesla has this recall, they have a power steering issue, this and that, and the list goes on. The truth is, all they had to do was a software update to fix that issue. But the media does not really treat Tesla that way. They're constantly saying it's a giant recall, and we're seeing Tesla dip as a result. It's also because of the broader markets that are slowing down. And this is a little bit different from what I was predicting. So my thoughts were that the market might see a small dip and a nice bounce, especially because of all the puts expiring for the day, and especially with Nvidia's earnings coming as soon as like next week. But instead, despite how many puts are expiring, despite the fact that SPY held 608 yesterday, today SPY is starting to lose that and showing a lot of weakness. So the market is starting to slow down. Let's talk about some key levels and what to watch for and what this can mean. So what I find interesting about this is yes, the market is showing weakness right now, but number one, we have to wait and see what happens for close. Will they try to make the market recover by the time we close because of manipulation? Could this be a manipulation move just to trick as many people as possible? And then number two, the question is what's happening with Nvidia's earnings? Next week on Wednesday, Nvidia has earnings. Are they dumping the market before Nvidia's earnings because we're about to see a pump? Could that be what they're planning? Or is this about to be the start of a big reversal? So it all depends, guys, on what happens with Nvidia's earnings, what's going on. Are they trying to bring prices down so they can start buying things up again? We'll have to wait and see what on earth is about to happen. So just keep that in mind. Even if the market dips a bit, it does not mean that it's the end of the world. Please, hold yourself together. Do not panic and do not be overly emotional. So as far as Tesla goes, we're going to start off with this. Tesla has resistance at 362. This was the main resistance. And our support was at 348, which Tesla's starting to lose. This was the range on Tesla going back and forth and back and forth. But now we're starting to lose 348, the low from yesterday. This is not a good sign for Tesla. We need to try to get back above 348 by close. If we can't, we're going to be at risk of dipping to like 344, then all the way back down towards 340 flat. So we could be dumping to like the mid to low 340s if we can't reclaim 348, at least by close. And there's a good chance that Tesla may be dipping even more. I don't like to say that. I don't like to see Tesla dump, but so far it is looking a little bit more dumpy, especially with the recall news that the media is reporting. As I mentioned before, Tesla is not truly in a recall. It's just mainstream media exaggerating about their power steering issues. But it's still negative. It's still negatively affecting Tesla, and we are still looking a little bit weaker. So I would say this: yes, we're at risk of dipping more, but let's see if we can reclaim 348 by close or not. If the market gets a big bounce by the end of the day, if it does happen, Tesla needs to hold 348 to remain in this range. If not, it's not going to be a good sign for next week. Now for SPY, we dumped and we did touch 605 already. The question is, can we get bought back up and reclaim 608? If we do reclaim 608, we're going to be in a much better position by now, if not by early next week. If we don't reclaim 608, we're going to be at risk of continuing to fall lower. So please be careful. We're in a very, very critical place right now. The daily chart on SPY is also looking weaker. Approaching Nvidia's earnings, we are looking a little bit weaker. If we get a close like this, the close is not officially in, so we can't truly say the market's going to dump for sure. It's going to dump even more. That's not guaranteed, especially as we have 605 as the main support. So we'll see if 605 holds, and if it does hold, we have hope of getting back up to 608. And then I would like to see us get back above 608 to bounce. If we can't, it's not going to be a good sign. So I hope that's as clear as possible. So for now, the main range on SPY is between 605 and 608. If 605 fails us, I will be concerned. There's going to be more downside, by the way. And then we want to reclaim 608 by close, if not by early next week, for us to try to bounce. So we'll see about that. Just wait for that, and we'll see how it goes. On the QQQ, unfortunately, we have 533 support. We were not able to hold above 535. I would like to see it reclaim 535 for some kind of rebound. If not, if we end up closing below 533, it's not a good sign. We might be dipping a little bit more. So we're still holding it on the QQQ. We'll see if this holds for now. So be very, very patient. The Russell 2000 has been dipping quite a bit. We're looking for the support around 220. So we'll see if that holds or not. But one thing I want to say is that the Russell is very resilient. Notice that it hit 220, then bounced about 230, hits 220, then bounced about 228, came back down. We're still at support at 221. We haven't lost 220 yet. So we're technically still holding support. We'll see if we bounce off that or not. It's still doing fine. I want to mention ES is doing fine as well because we have this resistance becoming support at 6,080 to 6,090 at range right there. We'll see if that holds. If it doesn't hold, we could be dumping to about the lower 6,000s. So watch 6,080 on ES. I would like to see it get back above at least 6125 for it to try to rebound. I would like to see that specifically because of our 50 EMA. So we'll see if we get some kind of bounce towards the end of the day or not. There's still plenty of time left for the day. And then simultaneously, you have to remember that, we have Nvidia's earnings next week. That could still affect things and change how this market moves. So we're just going to wait and see how it goes. We are a little bit weak right here. We haven't lost 6,008, but we haven't broken past 6125. We're in the middle, but there's still some weakness. Also notice that NQ is just chopping around 22,000. If 22,000 fails us, we could be dipping to 21,800. If we hold 22,000, we're looking for a move to get back above 22,135. So it could go either way. There is some weakness on the 4-hour, especially on NQ, so we'll see how it goes. But just to be very, very frank, I just want to make it clear that NQ is a little bit weak here. It's a little bit heavy, so it might dip a little bit more. But once again, this is happening before Nvidia's earnings. I wonder if we're about to see something very, very decent. But we'll see if Nvidia's earnings causes a big bounce in the markets. So we'll see if that's the case or not. But for the time being, I'm seeing weakness on ES and NQ. On Bitcoin, we got a big rejection here. We need to get back above 100,000. Otherwise, we're looking for 98,000 as support and eventually 96,900. For Nvidia, we're very flat right now. We want to see if we can hold above 138. We also have resistance at 140. We're just very, very choppy, not really doing a whole lot. Once again, for Tesla, we'll have to see if we can reclaim 348. If not, we're going to be at risk of dipping a bit more towards the lower 340s. So just be very careful. On Aapl, it's actually only down 0.2%. It's very flat. The chart is still technically bullish, making higher highs and higher lows. Unless we lose like 242, then yes, I will be concerned. I do think it might dip to like 244, but for now, it's very, very flat, not really doing a whole lot. What is weak would be Coinbase. We got this big rejection right here. It's going to be at risk of returning to about like 252 if we can't get back above like the 260 area. For Amazon, we hit this yellow trend line of resistance, rejection, over and over again. We'll see if we reclaim this or not. Otherwise, we are going to continue to look more bearish, especially as we have like 218 or so. For Meta, we got this big rejection. We're kind of dipping here. I wanted to see this reclaim 705. We haven't so far, so we're looking for like the 680s. For Microsoft, we're looking for essentially 413 to hold. If not, it could be dipping closer to this imbalance at 410. Not looking too good. It is favoring downside a little bit more, especially after some negative news came out. Google has very, very strong support at 183. Notice we formed these wicks here. We did bounce off that many times. So we'll see if that holds or not. So honestly, guys, the VIX is starting to push here, but keep in mind that we do have Nvidia's earnings next week. Could this be a dip before it? And will the dip last? We'll see. We need SPY to get back above 608 for it to try to bounce and for the bulls to have an edge again. If not, we are going to remain more bearish. Right now, the charts do look more bearish. This is a little different from what I was suspecting earlier. Sometimes that happens, guys. I can predict something and my predictions can be wrong sometimes, but don't kind of let that sway you away, considering the fact that I have been right the majority of the time, but no one could be right every time, right? Things like this could happen. So in this case, the market is looking more bearish for the time being. For now, we are looking a bit more bearish. We need to see if during the end of the day, especially during the final hour, if we could get bought back up. Otherwise, the bears have a bit of an edge for the time being. Even for Tesla, we're not looking too good. And then we'll see if this is some kind of dip before Nvidia's earnings, if that's going to be the next factor to really change this. But with that being said, thank you all so much for listening. For now, the bears have an edge, and we'll give the market some time to develop. Thank you for listening, and peace.